Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to Emergency Management Associates, coming to you from the Area Command, 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina. We want to welcome you to this channel today. I'm sorry we came on earlier. We had to do that. We needed a new promotional video, and I couldn't figure out any other way to do it because previous ways had not worked, and so I did it that way today only. Today I want to talk about something that has happened today in Iceland. I want to show you this video. This is a Coast Guard helicopter that flew over north of Grindavik today. This was a purely investigational mission by the Coast Guard, and what they were looking for is the fissure that opened up earlier this morning. This is a huge deal. Okay? Yes, they were expecting this volcano to erupt at any time, but it did not. It did not erupt till today. This was expected to happen at some point, but not today. What has happened today is we've had a good volcanic eruption. This time it was nowhere near Grindavik. The helicopter is hovering over the general area around the fissure. There were fountains of lava skyrocketing into the sky about 160 feet high. That is just an estimated height. As you can see, the fissure lengthened out just like previous fissures had, and it will continue to do so probably for at least another several days. This is what happens. This is exactly what happens when these fissures have erupted before. We do not expect for this to continue. I want to say it again. We do not expect for this to continue any length of time at all. Okay? This may continue for several days, but that's just about it. Now, I want to give you a good idea of what we see happening. I think that's very important, understanding what has happened today. Okay? There has been a lot of lava coming out of this fissure. A lot of lava. This volcano erupted early this morning. People were looking at this volcano erupting north of Grindavik. Iceland's meteorological office said the volcano started erupting southwest in the southwestern part of the country in the Reykjanes Peninsula, north of a nearby settlement. The eruption of the Slingerfell volcano began about 6 a.m. local time this morning, soon after an intense burst of seismic activity that had happened, earthquakes and tremors. The strength of the eruption increased by mid-afternoon today. The Met Office said though the lava continued to spew from parts of the fissure and a huge plume of steam rose over a section of the fissure where the magma mixed with groundwater met. As you can imagine, groundwater and magma does not mix. Groundwater and magma does not mix. There was a huge literal explosion. The eruption site is about 4 kilometers, 2.5 miles northeast of Grindavik. Grindavik, as we've been telling you before, is a coastal town of approximately 3,800 people. 3,800 people. It's a good-sized town. I want to show you another picture here. I'm sorry. This is a picture of many people that were standing on a bluff just outside the fissure area early this morning. We do expect this to continue for at least several more days, but it's not over. Okay? Look at this fissure volcano that opened up when it first started. This was a spectacular sight, to say the least. A very spectacular sight, to say the least. It was huge. It was literally huge, guys. People that saw this happen couldn't believe it. It was beautiful. It was an absolute beautiful sight. Now I'm trying to show you another picture that I have for you, but I don't know if it's going to let me show you this. This is that picture of the figures of people that saw this thing erupting early this morning. This is another picture here. Let me lengthen this out so you can see it. Look at this. Okay? It was huge. The meteorological office in Iceland says there is no immediate threat on Grindavik at all. Civil defense officials said that no one was believed to be in Grindavik at the time of the new eruption. Why? Grindavik had been evacuated. The evacuation stemmed from the early eruption January 14th. Right before Christmas, people were allowed back into Grindavik. Authorities at that time questioned the decision. Safety. On January 14th, early in the morning, there was a lot of seismic pressure that hit. Earthquakes and tremors hitting all over Grindavik. The decision was made one more time to evacuate Grindavik, and that's what happened. They evacuated Grindavik just in time to see another eruption of the volcano at Grindavik. I want to show you pictures from that eruption, just to give you an idea of what happened. Oh, don't tell me that it's not going to let me show you this. Well, I'll just bring up another picture that I have here for you. Not a problem. You're kidding. Okay, I don't have that picture. And you might ask, why don't I have that? I was going to come on the air on Rumble today. And I tried to come on the air and I noticed that many files were erased off my hard drive. Again, this is probably just one more picture that was erased off my hard drive today. But I'm going on. Again, civil defense officials said no one was believed to be in Grindavik. The only people that were allowed to be in Grindavik were inspectors and advisors that were checking for fissures that had opened up in Grindavik, and they were checking water pressure at the various buildings and homes in Grindavik. One other thing, and I will report more about this later this evening. Grindavik has a huge sports stadium, a soccer field where they also play American football. Officials had felt some trembling around that building as they were investigating whether that building should be declared off limits. They went inside the building and they felt more tremors. So they pulled back the artificial grass turf that had been laid to play football and play soccer. They found great big huge fissures that had opened up in the concrete floor that had been laid before they put the artificial turf down. So they have indefinitely closed the soccer football stadium in Grindavik. Okay? No one was meant to be at Grindavik today or any other time since January 14th. Fountains of lava today spewed from the fissure in southwestern Iceland in the third eruptive event since December. Spectacular footage that I showed you from the Reykjanes Peninsula showed I can't talk. Showed molten lava spewing from the fissure. An incredible sight. Molten rock oozing along the fissure that was estimated to be 3 kilometers long, approximately 1.86 miles in length, near Slingerfell. Slingerfell is also near something else that we've been talking about as of late. The Blue Lagoon. It's also very close to the huge Slingerfell, or the huge geothermal plant that's right next to the Blue Lagoon. The molten lava that erupted today was estimated to be about 160 feet in the air. As I showed you early on in the program, it was witnessed by a Coast Guard helicopter flying over the peninsula earlier today. The nearby town of Grindavik was already evacuated because it had been evacuated since January 14th. Today, guests at the Blue Lagoon were asked to leave. Not asked, but told to leave. The popular Blue Lagoon geothermal spa was the latest victim of the eruption. No, the Blue Lagoon was not damaged by the eruption, but the eruption was very close to it, and so they decided to evacuate it right before the eruption happened. The Blue Lagoon Thermal Spa was created using excess water from the power plant and was closed when the eruption began. All the guests were safely evacuated, and a stream of lava soon spread across the landscape and was seen from the exit road from the spa. No flight disruptions at the nearby Keflavik, Iceland's main airport, but hot water was cut off. The hot water was cut off from the power plant that supplies hot water to not just the airport, but the residents throughout Iceland. Now, I'm going to talk about that in just a second here. The Icelandic Met Office earlier this week warned of this possible eruption after they monitored a buildup of magma and semi-molten rock that was below the ground the past few weeks. They had also said yesterday that the deformation, meaning the land rise near the power plant and the Blue Lagoon Spa, had actually gone down. The land rise had actually gone down. Okay? Hundreds of small earthquakes today that had been measured since Friday, capped by a burst of intense seismic activity, just 30 minutes before the latest eruption began. The dramatic video that I showed you at the beginning of this program today showed Iceland's lava fountains, again, soaring to more than 50 meters high, 165 feet into the darkened skies of the morning. A plume of vapor about 3 kilometers, 1.5 miles above the volcano rose as the hot magma struck the groundwater. Workers have rushed to lay an underground water pipe as a backup to what residents of Iceland already have as the magma reached the pipeline that they had and cut off the water supply from the great big huge facility there near Grindavik. The lava reached that pipeline and cut off the water supply. The water supply heats people's homes and provides hot water to the residents in those homes and businesses. Okay? This happened all this morning. The power plant is at what they call Svartsenga, the geothermal power plant. Authorities urged residents not to use hot water, and if they did, to use it very sparingly, and also electricity that's generated from the Svartsengi power plant. Schools, gyms, and swimming pools were shut down because of lack of heat and water. Dave McGarvey, who's a volcanologist we have spoken to in the past, who works exclusively in Iceland, says it is highly unlikely that the gentle effusive eruption would disrupt aviation because such volcanoes produce only a tiny amount of ash. Only a tiny amount of ash from these fissures that have erupted. Grindavik is about 50 kilometers, 30 miles southwest of Iceland's capital of Reykjavik. It was evacuated in November when the Svartsengi volcanic system awakened after almost 800 years without a series of earthquakes. Those earthquakes opened up large cracks in the earth north of town, and those cracks or fissures started opening up in Grindavik itself. The volcano eventually erupted on December 18th, sending lava flowing away from Grindavik. A second eruption that began on January 14th sent lava again towards the town. We showed you pictures of that when it happened. The defensive walls that they had built had been bolstered up since this last eruption, and it stopped some of the flow of lava from getting into Grindavik. But even then, several buildings and homes were consumed by the lava, and land in the town has sunk as much as 1.5 meters, approximately 4.5 feet, because of the magma movement. The ground has subsided, sunk, because what has happened is all of that magma that was down beneath Grindavik has moved. It has moved north. So that magma reservoir that was once under Grindavik is no longer there, and the ground has lowered down. It has subsided. There have been no deaths as a direct result of these volcanic eruptions. But, as I spoke about in one other episode of this program just a few weeks ago, there was one death as a direct result of being down in one of the fissures. Officials had sent 3 men down into one of the largest fissures. One of those workmen were using a tapping device. A tapping device is a large device that sits on the ground. The handle comes up from the tapping device, and there is 2 handles on it. The worker was trying to tamp that ground down hard so they could dump more dirt on it and tamp that down as well. But while he was tapping that initial ground in the fissure down, all of a sudden the ground swallowed him up. They were trying to fill that fissure up, and the workman was down there and was swallowed up into the fissure and has not been seen since, and he is considered to be dead. Now, it's unclear whether the residents of Grindavik will ever be able to return to Grindavik permanently. Now, with that said, they're talking about somewhat of a return of residents to Grindavik in March, approximately March 16th. Now, as things go forward, I will bring you more and more information about that. Now, I think at this moment especially, there is a resignation, a stoical resignation for the foreseeable future. The viability of bringing people back into Grindavik is not a good one. Some people, including officials in the government, believe that Grindavik is basically uninhabitable. After centuries of quiet, tens of years, this area has been quiet. People thought the area was fairly safe. It's been quite a shock that this volcano has come back to life. This is just evidence that's been gathered quite recently that the eruptions could go on for decades, if not centuries, even sporadically on this particular peninsula. Both the previous eruptions before lasted only a matter of days, and they believe that's again going to happen again. But The president of Iceland, Gunni Johansson, called this a daunting period of upheaval on the Reykjanes Peninsula. The Reykjanes Peninsula is one of the most densely populated parts of the island of Iceland. The most disruptive part has been in recent times since 2010. In 2010, there was another eruption, and we did not cover it. We did not come on the air until 2019. But the eruption of the Eyjafjallajökull volcano, and I'll show you a picture of that tonight. It's off to the east and north from Grindavik. It's a large volcanic complex that right now is covered by glacial ice. The volcano erupted in 2010. It spewed huge clouds of ash into the atmosphere, way up into the stratosphere, and it led to widespread airspace closings all over Europe. It prevented any planes from going anywhere for months. Air traffic from the United States and elsewhere into Europe was halted because of all the ash in the atmosphere. Now, why do you think, or why do most people think that this may continue? Iceland sits on a volcanic hotspot in the North Atlantic Ocean, and it averages an eruption every 4 to 5 years. So, after this present eruption, it is possible that it might not erupt for another 4 to 5 years. But even 3 weeks ago, after the eruption before this, scientists were saying that that magma hotspot was moving north towards Reykjavik. It may still be doing that. We're going to have to watch this very closely. And I'm going to talk to my experts in Iceland as we go forward. And I will bring you more and more information as it becomes available. But again, right now today, Iceland has had another eruption from their volcano. A huge eruption was seen all over this area. This is the initial eruption now. Lava, hot molten lava, spread over a great deal of the landscape that was covered by ice and snow. Recently, since Christmas time, it snowed and snowed heavily. So the area was covered with ice and snow. Now we have a fresh coating of lava over this landscape. And as we have more photos that become available, I will share them with you on this program. Does anybody have any questions for me? I'll be happy to answer any questions right now. Hurricane Heather says she's got to go have therapy in 30 minutes. Much love, fam. Hurricane Heather, thank you for being here. We really, really appreciate it. Hurricane Heather is one of my dearest friends. I appreciate her. She's one of our mods here, and all of us appreciate her. Nathan Hester is asking, Ron, does this mean it has more water in it and is runnier? No. The magma does have water in it. 6 to 8% of all magma is water. 6 to 8% of all magma is water. What happened today over here that you see is the magma coming just underneath the ground hit a water table. It hit a water table, groundwater. And when it hit that water table, it spewed up in a huge eruption, as you can see now. It was an explosion. Almost not even an eruption, but an explosion. Okay? That was a great question. Anywhere from 6 to 7, 8% of all magma is water. That's why you see steam coming from the volcanoes. Do we have any other questions here? I have no problem answering questions of any kind. Questions are good. Nathan Hesser says he was curious about that. I think a lot of people are curious about that. That's why in previous programs we talked about the water content in magma. Okay? I think it's very important that we give out that information. Nathan Hesser said on his YouTube show 2 or 3 days ago, he mentioned that this area was about to erupt, and it's true, it has erupted now. Magma's headed that way. Hurricane Heather says she's trying to get better, and we're urging Hurricane Heather to take the time she needs to get better. Hurricane Heather is awesome. Okay, I'm just trying to go back through here and see what's going on. S. Nort says can't go on at 6 p.m. because of Tucker's interview. Absolutely. We will try to go on the air about 5 p.m. I don't want to have our program this evening last into the nighttime as we have in the past. But Tucker Carlson went to Russia to interview Vladimir Putin. And I talked briefly about that last night. Tucker Carlson has come under heavy criticism from the Democrats mostly. The Democrats and other socialists in our country and other people around the world are trying to limit Tucker Carlson from going anywhere else. They don't want Tucker Carlson to talk about much of anything. They don't like him talking to Vladimir Putin. They don't like him talking to President Trump. They don't like him talking to Biden. They don't want him telling the truth. Tucker Carlson has told the truth about a lot of things, but they don't like the truth. As you saw last night, our program was nearly halted by the buffering because people don't handle the truth very well. And we talked a lot about truth. S. North says, are you going to save time for Tucker's interview? Yes. I will go off the air before 6 p.m. when Tucker comes on the air. And it's interesting that when I'm talking about this now, the amount of bandwidth that I'm being allowed has gone down since I've been talking about politics again. They don't like me talking about it. But as soon as I'm able, I will go on Rumble. I promise you that. So I'm asking everybody to please start searching out Emergency Management Associates on Rumble. We will be going there. I am not going to tolerate this buffering that YouTube and other places have been giving us. I'm just not going to tolerate it. We're going to Rumble where we can talk about anything we want for however long we want. Carl Smith says, Democrats. You're right. Absolutely. NCWQ, Rebecca just came on here on the chat. We appreciate Rebecca being here. Mark Stolte says, thanks, Ron. I appreciate that as well. Do you guys have any questions what's happened here in Iceland today? NCWQ Explorer says she barely got any views on her video about politics. Yes. They don't like, YouTube doesn't like anybody seeing anything. Just so you know, and I've talked about this on my program before, Rebecca got nailed on Sunday. Rebecca put up a video on Sunday. The outside of her video, where you normally see information about my video, on her particular video, it showed maybe 1 or 2 people had seen her video, including me. The problem is when she went into the video analytics that YouTube showed her, there were several other people that saw her video. Later, she sent a message to YouTube. And all of a sudden my bandwidth went down to 900 kilobytes per second. Because I'm telling the truth. They said, YouTube told her that they were working on the problem. Working on the problem. That's BS. YouTube, I'm going to tell you right now, you are lying to the public. You are lying to your creators. If the creators go into their analytics, and it's not just Rebecca and myself that go into the analytics. Another friend of mine, actually two of my friends in northern Idaho, have two different videos. One is called Good and Simple Living. The other is called New Soul, Old Soul. They came up with that podcast. YouTube has been censoring their podcasts and their personal family Good Simple Living, because YouTube doesn't want them to have the people watching their program. And they have a lot more people watching their program than I do. YouTube is even censoring them as well. My friend went on the air, I believe it was last week, asking people to check their subscriptions because, again, YouTube were censoring them. They were actually deleting their subscriptions from the program. They've been doing that to Rebecca. They've been doing that to me as well. And YouTube acknowledged that they've done it, that they're trying to remedy that. And that's a lie. YouTube is not doing anything to stop their censoring nor stop their unsubscribing of subscribers to people's programs. YouTube could, in all actuality, make more money for every person that subscribes to a program if YouTube would allow that. But YouTube does not want to give anybody, including me, any more subscribers than we already have. And we have had in the last week several additional people that have subscribed to our program. But yet I also believe that YouTube is still unsubscribing people. So everyone, please make sure you're still subscribed to our program. And if you're not subscribed, please subscribe again. And when you subscribe, there's something else that you need to do. Just off to the side, and I think below that subscription button, there's another button that you need to click on. There's a little tiny bell icon in a circle. Click on that little tiny bell icon. When you click on that little bell icon, there's a drop-down menu of 3 items. Click on the word ALL, all. That should get you notified when we come on the air. Again, YouTube does not like notifying people. I contacted them over about 2 years ago. Well, we're sorry, Mr. Tyler. That happens, but we're sorry it happens. We're going to try to get better about notifying people about your program. Yeah, right. Now it's gotten less and less and less over the last year since I reestablished this new channel here April 3rd last year. It's incredible. So please, guys, check and make sure you're still subscribed to this program. Like I said, if you're not, please resubscribe. 25% of everyone who is subscribed to, 25% of the people that watch this program are not subscribed. If everybody subscribed to this program, it would go over the top. We want to get over 25,000 subscribers again. My last channel that was taken down by YouTube last year, before I established this new channel, that channel that I had had over 25,000 subscribers, and YouTube took it down. I would love for this channel to grow up over 25,000 subscribers again. Why? It's not for me. I want to be able to talk to all of you. I want to be able to talk to the world about what's going on. This morning I downloaded a promotional video that will be on YouTube for people that haven't subscribed to this program. It will be available to everyone. Why? Because I want people to see and understand what we do with this channel. That promotional video, if you check it out, talks about that. We want to speak to everybody around the world about emergency disasters, everything that could happen, and about emergency preparation. That's where we differ from everybody else. Nobody else talks about everything like we do. We're trying to reach out. We have more and more emergencies and disasters that happen around the world. We want to reach everyone that we possibly can, so we can try to save people's lives. We've been doing that. Just after Christmas, we saved some lives in South Dakota because someone that watched this program talked to me about their carbon monoxide detector going off. She told me that she changed the batteries in the smoke detector, but not in the carbon monoxide detector. So I told her to check the carbon monoxide detector. She reinstalled new batteries in that, and it continued to go off. So I told her then to call the fire department. So later she called me, or she didn't call me back, but she wrote me, sent me a message saying the fire department had arrived, and there was an 85% detection of carbon monoxide in the atmosphere of that apartment complex. 85% of the atmosphere in that apartment complex was carbon monoxide. If people had gone to bed that night in that complex, people probably would have died, including our friend in South Dakota. So folks, our message is getting out. We want to get this message out to everyone. So everyone, please share it. Please share it worldwide. To all your family, your extended family, your neighbors and your friends, your social media contacts, and even the people you work with. This is essential for you, and it's essential for them. We thank you for the work that you've done. We thank you for sharing this program. We thank you for your donations to our PayPal and our Venmo. We thank you for your donation to our P.O. Box. P.O. Box 422, Valdese, North Carolina. Zip code is 28690. We had another sister from Michigan, Dearborn Hills, Michigan, that sent us a neat card right here. Lifting you up today and always. She sent us a donation, which we greatly appreciate. She also sent us this card right here. The card depicting Jesus Christ. We appreciate that. She also sent us a bookmark. And apparently, I've left the bookmark downstairs on my dining room table. I appreciate that. I appreciate that, Lucy. I appreciate that a lot. Anytime you folks have an opportunity to donate to our program, you can stick it in an envelope with a letter around it or paper around it so nobody sees your donation from the outside. Stick it inside of a card like Lucy did that we got yesterday. Stick it in a card. That way nobody sees what you've done. You can mail it to us. Quite a few people do. You can also donate to our Venmo and our PayPal locations, and you can find those directly beneath this program video today, in the top of our program description. You can click on any one of those donation ports, PayPal, or there's 2 PayPal locations and a Venmo location. We appreciate any and all donations you give us. It means a great deal to us. It helps us afford the bandwidth that it takes to put on this program. Yes, it takes bandwidth. Our bandwidth went up another $20 this month. Go figure. I didn't expect that. Folks, we appreciate all you do to help support this program. Some of you have also helped me pay off part of my medical bills. For that, I am very grateful. The doctors and the insurance, or not the insurance companies, the doctors and the hospitals are still knocking down my door. Yes, it's expensive to fight cancer. And several of you who have done that as well. And we appreciate that. Missouri Boat Ride just gave us another $20 donation. Thank you so much, guys. We definitely appreciate that. God bless you for helping support us. We appreciate that greatly. Okay? Missouri Boat Ride says, "Hi, Ron. I just checked in right now, and I was unsubscribed. I've been with you since the beginning. I don't know how that happened. They did it to me again. Sorry, Ron." No, you don't have to be sorry. Just make sure at least twice a week you check your subscription, because YouTube loves to unsubscribe people. Unfortunately, we just appreciate you finding us. That way we have more people to talk to, more people to get this emergency information out to. We have people in Iceland, including Professor Johansson. The mayor of Grindavik has also told us that he watches our program occasionally whenever he can get the time. People in Romania watch our program. People in Sweden and Norway and Denmark and Finland watch our program. One of our dearest friends over in England, Demon Catman, watches our program. We appreciate him. Irish Vagabond in Ireland watches our program. We appreciate him when he can watch it. We appreciate all of you in Canada and around the world. Australia, we have viewers in Australia. We have several friends down there. We have friends over in New Zealand as well. Japan and South America and Central America. Literally all over the world. We appreciate all of you. God bless you for that. God bless you, and may God always be with you. Always. Folks, we'll be back on the air in about 2 hours. We're going to take a break, and we'll be back on the air in, again, like I said, 2 hours' time. God bless you. May God be with you this day and always. God be with you until we meet again. We will see you in 2 hours' time. Thank you for being here, everyone. God be with you till we meet again. See you later, guys. Bye-bye.
Good evening, folks. This is Ron Tyler with the Emergency Management Associates.
Folks, this is Ron Taylor with the Emergency Management Associates live from the crossroads of Valdese in Utah. The time right now is 7:05 p.m.
also